Hello and welcome to Around the Clock. I'm your host, Yolanda Greaves. We are still taking advantage of these lovely days to do our shooting outside and in different locations. We are at the Ashland Public Library today. We're going to have an interview with Meena, Jain, our new director of the library, talking about all the great things that she and her staff are doing here at the Ashland Public Library. Of course, we'll have our Around the Town tour, sharing with some fun Halloween events that happened here in town, and the Select Board update from the meeting on November 3rd. So stay with us as I bring you Around the Clock. Hello and welcome to the Select Board update for the meeting that happened on Wednesday, November 3rd. We started the Select Board meeting at 7 p.m. with a few people participating in our citizens' participation. From there, we jumped into a poll hearing at 7:10. Eversource needs to move the pole that's currently in front of the new public safety building so that the trucks can get out. We discussed that and we approved that pretty quickly. From there, we went into a discussion of two new members for the Conservation Commission. Both Preston Crow and Owen Ackerman have stepped up to participate as members of the Conservation Commission. Preston is coming off of 15 years on the planning board. He took about a year off from service and has decided to jump right back in. Owen Ackerman has not done public service before, but he has been a beekeeper and participates in other things in Ashland, so it's nice to have him coming into the Conservation Commission. From there, we approved our consent agenda, just 2 items, some minutes and a grant that was moved around. From there, we went into old and new business. We reviewed the warrant articles for the special town meeting that is happening on Wednesday, December 1st. There are only 8 articles as part of that special town meeting. Most of them are ones that we do on a regular basis. There are some CPC discussions and then a resolution that's coming forward from the Sustainability Committee. So we reviewed that and then we voted to accept and close and post the warrant for that special town meeting on Wednesday, December 1st. From there, we went into our priority project updates, starting with the Rail Transit District. UGC, United Group of Companies, is getting ready to start doing some construction on their project that's up off of Memorial Drive. Also, we talked a lot about Trolley Brook Trail. A bridge has been put in place and they're getting ready to do the paving, and then there'll be a ribbon cutting ceremony in November. The exact date and timing has not been completely solidified, but if you're interested in participating, make sure you follow either the Friends of the Upper Charles Trail or check out the town calendar on the town website. We then discussed downtown. Construction is moving forward. There's been a lot of construction at the intersections of Main Street and Homer. We are very aware of how it's impacting the businesses, so they are trying to get that finished as quickly as possible, certainly minimizing the holiday shopping that's going to be happening soon. From there, we talked about the public safety building and the Mendez School public safety building. You're seeing more and more workers on site as they're starting to work inside the building. They're hoping to get the outside up pretty quickly so they can tighten it up before the winter. The Mendez School has a meeting on November 9th, and they're going to be looking at some work that has to be approved and reviewed from some of the subcontractors, and also a discussion of a groundbreaking ceremony. So be on the lookout for that when that gets decided. We then discussed the Route 126 project. Michael Herbert, the town manager, is going to be meeting with some of the condo associations that are impacted right now with all the work at Route 126. They're working as quickly as possible to realign the Algonquin Trail and the road across from it as quickly as possible. They're hoping to get that lined up and finished up within the next 6 months. The project is going to be going on for quite a number of years as they do certain work. We appreciate everyone's patience going through that side of town. Certainly we at WACA-TV feel the impact trying to get to and from the studios on Butterfield Drive. But please know that the businesses are there. They are still open, so don't forget about them and use a little of your patience and make sure you go and frequent them as well. The next discussion was for the Valentine Project. The Conservation Subcommittee, which is Steve Mitchell and Brandy Kinsman, had a meeting talking about the conservation historical restrictions and also what can and can't be done on that property. I know there's been a lot of discussion. We had money brought forward in June at town meeting to fix the roof and the foundation. As we started to go forward for that, we brought in another structural engineer. They don't know that the weight of the new roof would be working with the structure that's there, so we're looking at cabling. I know people have still a lot of questions, and we're trying to get those answered in regards to the cost of cabling and things like that. We are working on it, and we are trying to get more information out to people, so be patient, and thank you for that. From there, we went into our town manager's report. We talked about the now not so new COVID testing site that's happening at the Ashland train station, alternating hours, mornings and evenings between Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And apparently it has been very helpful for some local families. So if something comes up, make sure you check it out, make an appointment, and go. We then discuss the racial equity study. We worked with Suffolk University. They did a number of in-person meetings as well as doing surveys, and we got the first draft of the report. It was sent back for a few to have more specific data. We're hoping to be looking at that within the next next month or so, and then we'll also be getting it out to the public. We then talked about the safe harbor status that we now have because our housing production plan got approved. So that was a big thank you to Peter Matchick from our planning department, as well as Brandy Kinsman and the rest of the members of that committee. We then discussed the senior tax exemption, which gets voted on at special town meeting, which we'll do. And then we talked about Corderville Road Bridge. We're looking to get some state funding to do the construction and reconstruction there. And then we discussed an employee recognition that we typically have in December. We wrapped up with board reports. We were done by about 9 o'clock. So it was a quick one, some important things. And that's the select board meeting that happened on Wednesday, November 3rd. Hello and welcome to Around the Clock. Today we are in the Ashland Public Library and we are speaking with our newest library director. She's been in place about 6 months, Meena Jain. Meena, welcome to Around the Clock.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
So Meena, tell us a little bit about yourself and then we'll start talking more about the library and what you're doing here.
Sure. So I live locally, like not in Ashland, but about 15-20 minutes away. And my first degree was in social work. So I worked as a social worker till I had my kids. And then I accidentally became a children's librarian at our local elementary school. And the rest is just totally history. You know, I love libraries. I love reading. My kids, you know, were in the same school with me, and they got to see, you know, how much literacy affected their friends and teachers and everything. So it's just been a wonderful, wonderful ride.
So I have to ask, how do you accidentally become a children's librarian?
Well, I had been reading for my my daughter's preschool class in their library, and the librarian was, you know, had retired, and she had just started. Maya had just started first grade, so I was like, I don't want to work. I just, you know, I want to have some time downtime, and But several people had said, oh, you should apply. So I walked into the school and I said, hey, you know, what do you think about this? And they had me write my name and number on a piece of paper, and then they called me for an interview. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to work, you know. And yet it all just came together, and it was fabulous. And I have loved children's literacy ever since.
Fun. So now you're here at the Ashland Library.
Mm-hmm.
You've been at a couple of other libraries. How are you feeling about being here? You've been here, what, 6 months, 7 months?
Yeah, just about 6 months. I'm coming from the Cary Library in Lexington, and so it's just a huge difference in terms of size and scale and everything. But I found that a large library like that, which I loved my job there, but you can't get to know the people as well because, you know, so many people have so many needs. I feel like this sort of almost neighborhood library is the perfect sweet spot for me. Like, you get to know people, you get to know the collection, your staff is really close with the people that come in the door. It's just really a perfect fit for me, aside from the fact that it's only 20 minutes from home.
And you've jumped in with both feet. You've been doing programs with the library since you got here. we're working on the strategic plan for the library. Let's start there. What is that, a strategic plan for a library?
So the strategic plan, every library has to do it, and every organization should do it. It's a 5-year plan for where you're going in the next 5 years. Ours expires this year, so we of course have to do a new one. And it's actually a really good time because we're coming out of COVID.
Right.
We've had some serious come to Jesus moments type of things of like what works and what doesn't. And we've also discovered that there's so many more things that we can do because we've had to switch to technology.
Right.
And we're also learning the things that were left behind because of that technology.
Okay.
So it's a really good time to sort of figure out where we're going next. And so we put a committee together. I know you're on it.
Yep, I'm happy to be a part of it.
And we have a significantly diverse collection of people.
It's a great group of people from a lot of different areas.
Yes, exactly. And that's exactly what I wanted, because I wanted to hear every voice. And having somebody Brazilian on the committee and having somebody African American on the committee and having somebody in the schools was so important to me. And so I was very thrilled that people just jumped on board. So we had this conversation about what kind of what did we want to do? What would our survey accomplish? Mm-hmm. And the survey really is about what does the community want from the library in the next 5 years. And without the community involvement, we're just guessing.
Right.
We're just throwing Jell-O at a tree and hope it sticks.
I don't know that I've ever heard that expression.
You'll hear it a lot more with me around.
Okay.
Because that sort of seems to be my MO. But I don't want to do that for here. I want people to tell me what they want, and I want to see if we can, bring it to them. And so the survey is just the first step in that, and I'm really excited about it because I feel like it's such a good survey.
It's very thorough, but I think in a way that people will be willing to take the time. Mm-hmm. So, talking about the survey, how can people participate and do the survey?
So the survey's online. It's we can get you a link for it, and it's also will be hopefully heading to like the community center and the food pantry and other places that we can do outreach, and we can actually bring it to people. To the community.
Right.
We are working with the schools on finding maybe 5 minutes where every student can do it, because the great thing about our survey is it's in 5 or 6 different languages, and we have one for teens and for children.
Nice.
So we really want to hear from every voice, like I said, but also every age, every population, every demographic, and we wanted to make it as easy as possible for that to happen.
So what's the time frame? The survey's out there now. How long will it be available for the public to participate?
So we just posted it yesterday, and we've already gotten quite a great response.
Oh, good.
But we wanted people to have plenty of time, and we know it's the holidays, so we gave it till January 15th.
Okay, so they still have about 2.5 months to
Correct.
Go take the time. Mm-hmm. Once the survey is completed, what will be done with that information?
So then we come back together as a committee and sort of read the data and see what the responses were and what the comments were and what does the community want. And then we start thinking, how can we put this together to make like maybe 5 goals for the next year? Mm-hmm. If this community wants more books and materials, how can we make that happen? If they want more technology, if they want us to be doing more outreach, those kind of things. We really need to put that together into our goals, and then also how we're going to make it actionable. Not just, it would be great if we did this thing, but how are we going to do it?
The steps to get to those plans.
Right.
Great. So it sounds like once the survey's back and we have the plan created, we may have to do this again so we can let people know what happened.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to chat with you anytime.
But you're also having other things going on.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have coming up for the holidays?
So, we have lots of programs, as you know, and you can find everything on our website, on the library website. But one of the things that we're really excited about is the Friends of the Ashland Library are putting on a Children's Illustrators auction. It's going to be their winter fundraiser. And basically about 50 illustrators have donated art and books to the library or to the Friends for them to auction off in December. So from December 1st to December 8th, people can bid on, I can't say you'll win, bid on art from some amazing illustrators from all over the country.
Well, what's interesting is you were sharing with me before we sat down to do this interview, and I just randomly picked on one, and it was someone who was based in Belgium, and I was like, Wow, that was cool.
That must have been Pascal Lemaitre.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he actually sent his art, it's an original piece of art, to New York to his author, and they both signed the art, and then she sent it to the library.
Wow.
Yeah. And we had a couple of instances of that. Baljinder Kaur signed her book, and then the author sent a book plate for the book as well. So, people are so excited. The Children's Illustrators community is just incredibly kind and generous, and they love libraries.
Very nice. So you're bringing experience from a lot of other background and other libraries to Ashland. What do you think, you've been here about 6 months, what are the biggest needs for the Ashland Library that you see?
I think, I guess I feel like I'm not completely there yet in terms of knowing, because I need to learn more, I need to hear more, I need to partner more, not me, the person, but the library needs to partner more with our community organizations to see, what's already out there, how can we fill it in, how can we be the community center we want to be when there's already a community center. So we, some libraries consider themselves sort of like the living room of the community, or, and I'm like, yeah, we could definitely do that, but where are we missing? Where's the community missing? So that's where I'm learning and listening about what do Ashlanders want? What do they feel like is not here already? Because, Ashland is amazing. It does a lot.
Yeah, well, we know that. We think it's pretty amazing.
Well, I'm just learning it, and I'm just like, wow, you have so many, things that some other, communities have or don't have. It doesn't really matter, but for the size community you have, I think you have a lot of resources. So my thing is, how can we maximize those resources and make sure that people come into the library and know what's here, but also learn what's available to them?
Right. Well, that's great. Well, very exciting. So I'm going to let you go, but before I do that, I have one question I ask all first-time visitors to Around the Clock. And that is there something about you, Meena Jain, that not many people may know, but that you'd be willing to share with our viewers?
Actually, I'm really glad you asked that, because before we started this, you had asked me to pull out some of my favorite books. And I went to my bookshelf where I have all my signed books, and I pulled out 3. So I pulled out Unaccounted Earth by Jhumpa Lahiri, The Phantom Toll Booth by Norton Juster,
such a fun book.
Jules Pfeffer,
Yep.
and Good Luck with That by Kristen Higgins, who I just love. But I wanted to tell this story about Unaccustomed Earth, because Jhumpa Lahiri grew up in the same neighborhood as my husband.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So one Thanksgiving, we were visiting my mother-in-law for Thanksgiving, and we saw Jhumpa Lahiri's parents walking in the neighborhood. So we literally went up to them and said, "Is Jhumpa home? Can we come and meet her?" And she was, and we did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we ran to the bookstore. We bought every book they had by her, and we had them signed. Of course, she signed them. She was so nice and so gracious.
Talk about true fandom.
Oh, we were embarrassing, to say the least. So, yeah, she did sign my book. I don't know if you can see that. I'll tell you another little story about this, if you don't mind.
Nope, go ahead.
Because she grew up in the same neighborhood as my husband, and
and where was that?
It was in Rhode Island.
Okay.
In South Kingstown, and they went to high school together. And Shailesh is my husband, is convinced that some of the characters in her book, The Namesake, which was made into a movie, were based on their neighborhood kids.
Oh, so he thinks he's in one of them.
He thinks he might be. Which
That's
I think is fabulous.
That's fun. That's fun. I don't know that I've ever read anything by her.
Oh my
I
gosh,
have to
you should
check
totally
it out.
She is so good. But I think that for the story sort of is funny to me, and it has a personal connection.
Yeah.
But it also to me means that, like, we all have connections to literacy in some way.
Right.
We never know when our neighbor's going to write a book or, write an article that really resonates with people.
Yeah.
So this was a personal story for me, but I think a lot of us have them.
Yeah. Great. Well, Thank you. We look forward to going on to the website to do the survey, but also looking for the auction in December.
Great. I'll send you that link as well.
Yeah, that'd be great. Okay. Well, Meena, thank you so much for speaking with us.
Absolutely.
And again, we are here in the newer section of the Ashland Public Library, speaking with Meena Jain, the library director for the Ashland Public Library. And we'll be back with more around the clock. Wonderful. Hello and welcome back to Around the Clock. It is time for our Around the Town tour. You are seeing me at the Ashland Public Library. If you haven't been in for a while, they did allow me to take my mask off just to film, so know that you will need to use your mask. But if you haven't come in for a while, please come in, check it out, check out a library book, and certainly check out all the programs. We're going to start our Around the Town tour at Town Hall, where all the staff were dressed up for trick-or-treating. It was a great Wednesday afternoon, early evening when they're open late. The rec department was able to bring some kids to Town Hall where they were able to not get stamps or letters or town-related things, but able to do some trick-or-treating and get some wonderful treats. Let's go take a watch and a listen. From Town Hall, we're going to head over to the Senior Center for a luncheon that happened also the last week of October. It was a Halloween lunch with some fun storytelling and music, and thanks to Allison Rose for getting this footage.
Halloween, when the pumpkins all are seen, rolling up and down the street, hi-ho, it's Halloween. And now, what you do is you zip out pumpkins and put in another thing you might see at Halloween. And then once you put that thing in, you figure out how would it move up and down the street. So often when I'm doing this with kids, they'll go, ghosts, ghosts, of course, ghosts. So I say, okay, how do ghosts move up and down the street? They'll go, floating. So let's do that. Let's try ghosts floating up and down the street. So you get the idea, right? Here we go. Hi-ho, it's Halloween when the ghosts all are seen, floating up and down the street. Hi-ho, it's Halloween. Or someone might say skeletons. How would skeletons move up and down the street? Any ideas? Rattling. There we go. That's good. And there's other choices too. When you sing it, you can put in what you want, but we're going to go with rattling. Here we go. Hi-ho, it's Halloween when the skeletons all are seen, rattling up and down the street. Hi-ho, it's Halloween. And getting lower. And they've gone past the point where anything will hold them up except me. So I quickly grabbed the front of my pants, and I was a one-handed Santa Claus for the next hour. Halloween, when Santa Claus is all are seen, laughing up and down the street. Hi-ho, it's Halloween. And one time, a kid said, trick-or-treaters. So I said, how would trick-or-treaters go up and down the street? And this kid looked at me really seriously, and he said, sugaring. Which makes a lot of sense, actually. So let's do trick-or-treaters sugaring up and down the street. Ready? Hi-ho, it's Halloween when trick-or-treaters all are seen, sugaring up and down the street. Hi-ho, it's Halloween. Now, of course, you can sing this song for a long time if you want to. If you're with kids, you can make up all sorts of things you might see going up and down the street. Bats, ghouls, dinosaurs. I've had that happen too. Barney one time came into this song back when Barney was on TV. Barney went up and down the street. He was purpling up and down the street. But sooner or later, you got to come to the end. So in this case, we're going to do pumpkins one last time. Ready? Here we go. Hi-ho, it's Halloween when the pumpkins all are seen, rolling up and down the street. Hi-ho, it's Halloween. Thanks for singing along. That was great. That was great. Thank you.
Our next stop is on Hickory Road, where the Morrison family did a wonderful light and sound setup for Halloween. If you did not get the chance to see it, take a look at this footage and see how fun it was. Thank you to the Morrison family for putting together that great Halloween treat of light and sound. A lot of residents went by and had the opportunity to enjoy it. Our last stop on our Around the Town tour is the Halloween parade that was done by the Ashland Day Committee. This is an annual tradition going back many years and has taken different forms based on what's going on and safety. And this year it was all outdoors. Over 300 children participated. Not only children participated, but also adults. And as they do every year, there was a great costume party and costume parade, and prizes were given for some of the best costumes, from the littlest children to the oldest adults. Let's go take a look and a listen. Well, hope you enjoyed that, and maybe you were one of the prize winners of either a Walmart gift card or a Burnam's Pub gift card. Both great prizes. Certainly Burnam's, you can go and enjoy a great meal with your family. And congratulations and thank you to the Ashland Day Committee for putting together the great Halloween parade. And that wraps up our Around the Town tour. Thank you so much for watching. If you have a story or an event that you'd like to share with us, make sure you reach out to us at Around the Clock or WACA-TV, either call, email, or even via Facebook. Thanks for watching the Around the Town tour. An upcoming event we'd like to tell you about is a financial workshop that's happening at our senior center. It is a 14-part program that is a finance workshop for seniors to help them learn to manage their finances. So you can call the senior center to find out when it's going to be happening. We are also going to be recording it on WACA-TV, so you can watch that on our government channels. Verizon, it is channel 45, and Comcast, it is channels 11, and we're going to be posting that on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. So be on the lookout for that, or call the senior center and participate in person. Well, that wraps up another episode of Around the Clock. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Meena Jain, the Ashland Public Library Director, for speaking with us about the Ashland Public Library programs. Before I let you go, though, I do want to recognize and send our condolences from all of us at WACA-TV to two very special families here in Ashland. The first is the Cain family, Bernie Cain, who, if you knew him, you really had the pleasure of knowing a very great man. He passed away at 94 back on October 27th. And then Jean Kunis, who we did an interview with when she turned 100 3 years ago. We also lost her, and that was back on October 22nd. She was born in 1918. So our condolences to both the Cain and the Kunis family, two great names here in Ashland. Thank you so much for watching Around the Clock. As your host, Yolanda Greaves, I enjoy sharing the news of Ashland with all of you. Thanks for watching this episode of Around the Clock.